What's going on, Sports Card Hobby family? We are back. I am here with Flippin' W. Steve, who hasn't made a video since our last episode, and Neo
Yes, I have.
and Comics. Shh, Steve, you can't speak. You have not made, or you haven't posted a video.
There you go. Okay, you got to rephrase that differently because I have made a video. I just didn't upload it.
Not acceptable. Not
live streams for content creators only.
Yeah.
It's on private. You got to be a member of my Patreon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Steve
Channel member.
Actually,
Yeah.
Steve's got a $69 a month Discord that you have to join, and that's how you can reach him. That's the only way to watch the videos. That's the only way you can get you. That's the only way you can get in touch with him. How we doing, guys?
And then you could buy his $500 repacks.
Hey, don't sleep on the upside down repacks for my Stranger Things slabs that are coming. That's going to be, woo! Those are going to be wild times. Excited for the content around that.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff that you've been buying, and I figured, yeah, that's definitely repack inventory.
This is such garbage. It's got to be a repack. It's got to be a repack product.
There's no way someone would buy this card to actually own it. It's got to be for a repack.
Actually, I think Atlanta's going to time up perfectly when I'm there with my upside down repack product, because Jeff Wilson is at shows buying out dealers because he needs inventory to sell at the new store. And hello, nobody's got more graded Stranger Things cards than me. So let's make a deal. Jeff Wilson and I will be talking. We'll see what happens. Or I'll probably be talking with the Cards HQ guys. They'll probably be offering me like 10% of comps, but we'll see what happens.
Spurs cards brings up a good point. Steve's not making content. How are you going to ask trivia questions for the national trip?
Well, no, here's the thing. Last year's trivia was like so difficult that I can't start the trivia questions until like a month or two before the national.
Trivia is going to be, so back in 2020.
Do you remember?
What team was I talking about?
Yeah, well, some of those questions were like obvious. Some of them were hard. I get it, but it was a free trip to the national, so it wasn't going to be like where you could just lucky guess and win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people can't really complain too hard based on that fact, because it's like, well, it's like a $2,000 giveaway. So,
what hat was I wearing on 12/13?
Maybe the
last live stream of the year.
Whoever wins the fantasy league could like contribute like 3 questions or something.
Oh, so while we're talking about the fantasy league,
yeah.
Steve, do you have an update on who might be winning?
I certainly do.
Who's in the
mix? I want to get Chat's thoughts as well. So
throw the playoff matchups out there.
Yeah, let's run down who didn't quite make the cut. Okay, so the top 6 made the playoffs, and then the top 2 seeds get a bye. And I look like I'm in a Thriller video. What is up with my lighting? Anyway, it's because of my phone. All right, so
you have the spotlight on your face?
Yeah, it's my phone.
It's a professional operation.
So let's see. I eliminated Hambone last week. Sorry, Ham, if you're in the chat. He was on the bubble to make the playoffs, and I whooped him, and he finished 7th. So Hambone finished.
Brendan, we will discuss this in a bit.
Yeah. So Hambone finished 7th. Ziggy finished 8th. Ken Sports Card Lessons was 9th. Tied with, in that order, which is Chris Soul, which is Sports Card Collector, Investor, Dealer. Tied with Super Bowl Saints, which is Dustin.
Thanks a lot, Joe Burrow.
There was a 3-way tie for 9, 10, and 11.
If only you could have drafted Josh Allen.
12th was Team Matrix. So the top 6, Sitting Ducks, which is Jay, who's not a content creator. He was the one person that got in.
Oh, Vintage Card Collector asks a very pertinent question. Great timing. Go ahead, Steve.
He's not. And actually...
Continue on. Yeah, continue on.
Oh, yeah. So Jay is first with a first-round bye. I finished 2nd. I get a first-round bye. So it looks like we're going to have... Neo, are you playing Dakota in round 1?
Yeah, I played Dakota round 1.
Neo has Dakota in elimination round 1. And Sports Card Therapist has Jeff Wilson in round 1.
Whoa.
I think everybody's going to be rooting against both of those teams. But anyway.
Wow, that's like the heel versus heel match.
But from what Steve said, Sports Card Therapist has been manning his lineup. He has he's been adding, and he's been playing.
And that was the question when we ended live stream last week. What should we do with his team?
None of us have had any communication. Granted, I haven't reached out to Rob. I probably should at this point, but
Now he did go on a big losing streak because he should have finished second, and I had to win and he had to lose the last week in order for me to get the first round bye, and I beat Ham, and I think Jeff Wilson beat Sports Card Therapist, and now they'll have a rematch in the playoffs. But Dakota inched his way in there. He was everybody's favorite in the beginning.
He beat me by like 3 points. Neo beat me by 4 points the other night. Mostert had 2 touchdowns and 96 yards. All that idiot had to do was get 100 yards, and I beat Neo.
I don't want to hear a thing. The first time I played you, Mostert had like 67 points because he had 5 touchdowns or whatever in that game.
Exactly. That should have been every week. All right.
Yeah.
The Upside Down repack is coming along swimmingly. Thank you, Turtle Z. We will see. It's all going to come to a head at the Atlanta Culture Collision show. You will see. I've got over 100 Stranger Things slabs. So we'll see. And that's not even bringing my best stuff. That's just bringing the other stuff. Good stuff, but just not my best stuff. All right. Yeah. Speaking of Dakota, I think Dakota finally removed his videos.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't. Yeah, I think he shared that.
Yeah, he posted it in his Discord.
Yeah, so I think that he did
delete him. He just made everything private, I think.
Yeah. Exactly.
What does he have to hide?
Yeah,
that's the real question.
What's going on over there? Bigger questions. He wants to become anonymous. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. He's not making content, so yeah. Jay is going to win. Jay was the biggest
I don't think so.
of the year.
I think Jay's going to lose because he finished first and only had 1 regular season loss. I hate law of averages because he's due for a loss. I beat him in week 7. That's
Thomas, I feel like there should be Pancake Analytics should have introduced the Walking Dead repacks. I feel like it should be mandatory at a Culture Collision show that's supposed to be kind of more focused around like not sports. And yeah, you got sports cards, but you got a mixture. There should be Walking Dead repacks. There should be Upside Down repack. There should be.
I'm going to have Walking Dead cards.
Okay, well there you go. Steve's going to have a Walking Dead repack.
I'm going to have Walking Dead cards, not repack.
We might have a repack just to be funny. I'd really like to get, I don't know, someone, I need Dan the Card Man there with a camera with me like freaking out and like running through the back door with my repacks or something. That would be fun content.
Hey, just keep your repacks out of my showcase.
Yeah.
No repacks allowed.
Right. Are you going to decorate your showcase like the Upside Down?
I was thinking about that. I've got a table cover with my logo on it. So that'll be like the table cover.
Wow.
Or just push caution tape around the whole table.
Yeah.
Yellow.
There's a giant portrait of me that'll just be in the background. I think Neo told me I should do that. So that's a whole thing that we're doing. I'm caught up on chat. Guys, this is an easy night. This is going to be easy.
This is my obligatory. Have you guys booked lodging for the National yet?
I just booked lodgings for Atlanta, and I'm going to. I'm actually setting up at that show. So,
okay.
Atlanta. I haven't booked for Cleveland yet.
No.
I don't even know where to start.
At your house, Rob.
I made a whole video on it.
Where to stay?
Well, what? Yeah, we don't like. Is it in a playlist that I can go back to? National.
Just search National. It's on there. I made like a travel guide to the Cleveland 2024 National right after this year's National.
Yeah, just to get Ziggy's attention, I'm going to make sure to not have a checklist. Make sure to have like, the anti like supposedly a hit. I'll call it like $1,000 card. It's a $30 card.
The chaser's not actually in the pile.
There's no actual. I'll actually have the chaser in my back pocket, like of my jeans, and somebody will get that on video. Yeah, we got to really play it up.
Collector Orlando says he's booked for Cleveland. Man, Orlando, Instagram me or something like some of the hotels that in the area that are like.
Yeah, since Rob
there's not
without any.
I guess there's not.
Yeah, I only made a 15-minute video on it. Wow.
I'm saying, I guess there's not an optimal option. I guess all
there's
not.
There's no.
I know
no
that my
right
friend
answer.
made a whole. I know my friend made a whole video about it. But Orlando, can you send me some information? And he even lives there too. But yeah, Orlando, send us some information. I don't have a sponsor. I paid for the whole thing. Vintage Card Collector. I'm out that money. So it's all for the content. So it'll be fun. No, I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly, it'll be a good time. Oh, we got a tag bot. Look out. Terminators.
Which one's that?
Fast You 1313 Tag Bot has entered the chat.
Who's the tag bot?
All it takes is one.
Is something sports cards? That's not. Is that Ziggy? He says evening all.
That
It's
certainly
not.
sounds like a Ziggy comment. Ziggy,
It sounds like a Ziggy comment, but I don't know. And it's
There's no
like the
Jets
colors.
on it, and there's no
feels like
cheers.
Ziggy.
Yeah,
That
maybe not.
certainly
Maybe not.
does.
That's not. That's not.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I saw
Could
where
be one of
Ziggy
the
is.
burners.
Well, I saw where he's like starting a new
Yeah, the card
channel,
hunter.
the card hunter.
Yeah,
That's kinda
something.
cool.
Not too many people say evening. That's where he gave himself away. Well, good to see you, Ziggy. Something.
It's Larry. It's Larry from Raleigh.
No, he's making
It's
that.
Larry. It says it's Larry from Raleigh.
Who?
Something sports cards.
Something sports cards.
Nice cover. I happen to live in Raleigh. Wow, what a coincidence.
Well, you should know him.
He's
Is that your name? Is he outside your window right
yeah.
now?
Is this somebody outside? Yeah, exactly. In the bushes.
If
Why
Dustin's internet just cuts off,
Yeah. If you see a figure run behind me, somebody in the chat, please let me know, because I know these guys
it'd
won't.
be creepy as hell if your lights just went out right now.
Damn it! I wish I could just like turn them off myself. Oh well. All right. So Trader Grips is going to win the national trip, so he's not worried about booking anything. What's going on? Jack No 7 Dennis probably said that wrong.
Daniel.
I need to do more Comic Cons next year. Actually, I feel like this is a good time for you to talk about that, Rob. Your recent pickups. You got a few comic books. We'll slip that in here in the conversation.
He's probably saving them for a video.
Oh, are you saving it for a video, or can you?
I only got I bought like 5 in the last week. I've only gotten 2 so far.
You want to just show?
Well, you
one?
got some of the X-Men's from like the 90s, right? Some of your covers.
I mean, this is not a key book at all. This is like a $60 comic, but this is the first comic that I ever remember buying off a newsstand.
Oh yeah. You put this
What
on.
number is that?
Yeah, but this is on IG. It's
Yeah.
281.
Yeah, those are some cool covers. I remember
the Jim Lee. It's because Jim Lee art on there.
Yeah, Jim
That's not
Lee
Jim.
was-
That's not Jim Lee art.
It's not.
No, Jim Lee art's X-Men 1. Oh, this
Well,
is
that's
Jim
all
Lee. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah, that is Jim Lee.
You would lie.
281 was close to the end of his run.
Oh,
before
I'm
X-Men
sorry.
1
No,
hit.
it's not Jim Lee cover art. It's Jim Lee internal art. That's not Jim Lee cover art.
Well, it looks like it from
in
Delaware.
the chat. Actually, while they're talking about it, please put a synonym, another name for a repack or a mystery pack, surprise pack. What can we call it? So it's a set. We're just recycling it. We're gonna call it a different name. A fun pack, like in the chat, please.
Grab
throw
sack.
And then this is probably
Doesn't
one of
sound
the,
very good, but
No.
No,
get your
it's
grab
not very
sacks.
good.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll fly.
Okay.
That issue of X-Men did come out. One X-Men Jim Lee #1 did come out. This is a classic Jim Lee cover. I've actually been looking for this one for a while, and they were super expensive when everything got pumped. But I picked this one up for like under $200, which is a pretty good deal. It's X-Men Annual #1. There's nothing special about this book. It's just like one of Jim Lee's most classic X-Men covers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about the signature series stuff? Like, if that was signed by Jim Lee, would that be more?
I'm not-
of a choice, or
I
you
don't-
really care about those.
I don't like comic books signed.
Oh, okay.
Personally. Now, I did send in, I have cards at CGC right now for the in-house Jim Lee signing event.
Oh shoot, I'm
You see.
keep talking, Rob. I got to check my auctions actually while we're talking about. pickups. I'm like completely not focused.
And I got
I
3
got-
more books coming. I bought 2 off of kind of unexpected. Swaggle House was doing a claim sale on Saturday, and I bought 2 books off
I
him.
saw that. Yeah,
And then I picked up another one off eBay, but they're like pretty good prices. Like pricing on mid-key comic books are pretty reasonable right now.
yeah. My last big purchase was that Giant Size X-Men on the comic book side. Well, just in general, that was my last big one. But I've got my eyes on some other stuff too. Yep, Neo's got a good video on it. I watched it. I just don't remember when it was. I'd have to go back to it. The Loud Collector. Don't let his head get any bigger. Big props to Neo in the videos, my man. We'll just keep moving past that. What up, dudes?
OJ Pimpson in chat, right? It's Jim Lee's story and Wilson Thiebert cover and art.
On campus cards. 25K buy video at Atlanta like all the cool kids. Yeah, I'm gonna yeah, the $25,000 buy. Yeah.
Are they still doing those?
I'm actually hoping that someone comes to me with all that cash. I hope that someone's got I'm spending 50 grand at Culture Collision and they swing by.
I don't think I've seen one of those in a hot minute.
I haven't
Whatnot
seen
money must have ran out.
like the big vlog,
Wait, you're Whatnot sponsored. Aren't you going to be doing one of those videos?
Nah, not doing one. I'm Whatnot sponsored, but I'm not doing one of those.
Oh.
No.
You're not worth 50 grand of them.
Not yet. They haven't called yet. I say that now, but stay tuned, everybody.
Got to renegotiate that deal first of the year.
If they're handing out 100, hey, we need you to go around with $50,000. Well, you might. I can't promise. You might.
And that's when Dustin launches the repack.
At that point, it's all. It's the $50,000 spend. It's the repack. It's the break. It's the everything.
If you do a 50K buying video and a repack
and a rack
and sell it on Whatnot, people's heads will literally explode.
And a Raz at the end. Stay to the end for the Dustin Razes.
And then shillbit it.
Wow. For the content.
Oh man, I see this comment down here, and I'm like, it's asking Neo about Joe Flacco or Tua. And I got some thoughts on Tua after this week, and I'm a Dolphins fan.
I know who you are now, Southern Sports Cards. I know who you are. Okay, good deal. I know exactly who you are now. Good to see you, buddy. Comic book YouTubers are in meltdown mode. I don't know. Swaggle seems fine.
Nah, Swags is good. Swags is a good dude.
Reggie's every time I watch a Reggie video, he's picking up something else.
Reggie did a freaking YouTube short on Gen V that got like 3 million views.
I even watched
They got what?
Like 3 million views.
Oh, really? I haven't seen I'm like the last one to see it. I'll have to go.
I don't usually watch shorts, but Reggie's
I watch
those are two of my favorite content creators, period, let alone comic book content.
Did he throw like Bikini Babe in there or something? How did he get 3 million views?
I don't know. I guess Gen V is popular.
We're
gonna get you at New York Comic Con next year.
He titled it as if it was bad, like "Don't watch this if," and then proceeded to say, "If you don't like to have fun, if you don't like edgy, and things like that."
Reggie, professional.
Yeah, right.
You guys get so mad about titling, but it's really everything in internet marketing, guys. We're not we don't make the game, like we just play the game. We don't create the rules for it.
My favorite thing is a going to zero video, and then someone comments, "Cards will never go to zero." I'm like, I know, like it's just a thumbnail, guys. Yeah. Can we get a commitment to get both of you at like maybe the Charlotte Comic Con next year at Heroes Con?
I'll be there. I was there this year.
I mean, you were there for like an hour.
Dude, we were there together for like 4 hours.
I know. It wasn't quite 4 hours. We gotta get Steve there though.
Yeah, well, Steve is, I don't know. He's always flaky.
Last time I was in Charlotte, Dustin made me drive all the way back to Raleigh in his car.
Well, let's plan that up.
I don't even drive that much when I'm at home. My wife does most of the driving.
You know what?
I'm already looking ahead to New York Comic Con next year too.
Raleigh's got a big one called Galaxy Con. That's like every 6 months, but it's on the same weekend as the National every year. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's like HeroCon, but it's in Raleigh. But I'm in for HeroCon next year. That's an easy one. I really want to go to New York Comic Con.
We should all go to that next year. I mean, I'm most likely to be going again.
Yep. Okay.
And that'll be a future site of a Fanatic sports card event anyway.
I remember you, Larry. I remember you. Larry's like, you son of a.
You've now suddenly drastically fell behind on chat, by the way.
That's where we know we're doing it right. Gonna start a repack and call it the Magician Repack. The tagline would be, "Now you see your money, now you don't."
That's the Magic Man. That's from
OJ Pimpson,
Talladega Nights. Now you see.
That's a comment in reference to something we were talking about 10 minutes ago.
Let's see. Orlando does not want me to talk about the Dolphins game.
Sad sack grabs, but yeah, the Dolphins lost at the end, right? Is that what happened?
Well, yeah, but if you looked at the end and they were winning like 27-13, you would have think that they were like blowing them out. But all their points were given to them by Tennessee on a muffed punt, on a fumbled pitch. And Miami got inside the 5 like at least 3 times where they got stopped inside the 5. got one of their field goals blocked. Tua doesn't have a clutch bone in his body right now. Maybe he'll develop that part. Maybe he'll mature into that type of quarterback. But, man, Dolphins fans out there, he can play with the lead, but if we're losing with 2 minutes left, game over. He is not going to drive us down and win a game.
Which is scary when you've got the weapons that he's got. I mean, think about how many quarterbacks would die to have the weapons he's got. Derek Carr's one of them. I'll tell you that.
Right. Right now, I'm just like, man, he's a average to above average quarterback in a great offense that does not have the killer instinct or clutch
What's up,
ability
Mark?
to win a game.
Yeah, they'll cut. What are they? 8-4.
9-4.
Okay, I mean they're in the mix. They'll be all
Yeah,
right.
but we have to play Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo to end the season. Our 4 games are the Jets, then Dallas, Baltimore, Buffalo. We could lose all 3 of those.
I've
We
got
needed
my own guy. I've got my own dude in here. This is hilarious.
Did you just pull your own
I
comment up?
I thought that was you to put that comment.
It's not.
up there.
It's not me. It's somebody else with my stuff.
That's Ziggy.
It's definitely Ziggy.
What's the difference in the name? It doesn't have the.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
took the logo and everything. Jeez, Dustin's Dusty Pack. Ready to get dusted? Come to booth 319 or whatever.
Man, Ray, down there, I would trade you Tua for Justin Herbert any day of the week.
Is Herbert done for the season?
Yes.
Wow.
The ultra modern quarterback bloodbath this year.
Yeah, this year's been rough.
There's only like 10 or so quarterbacks. Like
Steve, isn't this the time of the year you usually pick like your chosen ones for quarterbacks and start buying?
Yes. I tried telling Dustin this. Hold on. I tried telling Dustin this the other night on the way to work. I was like, oh, by the way, you asked me to tell you when I started.
He miraculously cut out.
Do you remember when my phone cut out?
I'm like, dude, are you serious? It was one of those things where he's like, hey, I can't hear you.
Sam Darnold.
So look, we're talking about Atlanta.
I'm not saying you got to drop a name, but
we start talking about players, and I'm like, you know what? I got to think of some quarterbacks to take to the National with me next year. And I was like, all right, I've got one. And I started explaining why. And I talked for like 3 minutes. And then all of a sudden Dustin goes, what? I can't hear you. I'm like, well, where did you leave off? He's like way back in Atlanta. I'm like, so you didn't hear me talking about the quarterback cards or anything? He was like, no. So then I started again. And then he's like, you're breaking up. And I was just like, and then I didn't have phone service the entire night. Like my service was down in the casino area. I didn't have internet or, and it was a Thursday night. It was funny because I had Hunter Henry on one of my fantasy teams, and I was like, "No, I'm trying to change Hunter Henry out and put my other tight end from last week back in," and I couldn't because I had no internet service, and I had to play Hunter Henry. But then he caught 2 touchdowns in that Patriots game, so it was a good thing.
All right, Neil, will you ever try to get a huge comic like Hulk 1? Well, first off, Neo doesn't like Hulk, so it won't be Hulk 1. AF-15 well, I know you want X-Men 1.
yeah, X-Men 1's the biggest one that's legitimately on my radar. I mean, I would love an AF-15, but my wife would murder me if I bought an AF-15 because that's like even like the lowest grade AF-15 is still like
20 grand.
Yeah, like
sounds like a
20K.
It's like 15 to 20 for the low.
Yeah, for like a 0.5, like ripped to shreds. And I just don't know that.
Yeah, it's like a
I'd
52
want one
man.
like that. Like X-Men 1 though, like that's man, those are getting I think it was Instagrails or maybe Elite posted one yesterday. It was a 3.0 that presented pretty well for $7,000 that I was like running some numbers on. I'm like, okay, let's see. I got this there, I got this there, I could sell that, I can make this happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I might try to like plan on maybe picking one up at Heroes Con. Like that'll give me some runway to kind of build a bankroll. And I feel like that's one I want to buy in person, not, like when, Steve, like how you did your vintage thing. Like it wasn't like it's easy to just go on eBay and click bin, but especially on a low grade like that, I kind of want to see it in person to see how it presents.
And for your experience too. Like your big Grail book, you just clicked a button on the internet. And
Plus, like
I have-
negotiating on like a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 book, like
I have a question, like with the Comic Cons and stuff, and the comic books altogether, because I've never been into it other than buying a couple issues that I want myself. Do they trade much?
no.
Like we have trade nights, and we take stuff to people's tables, and I'll give you trade in cash for that, and things like that. Or
People
Or
will
they
carry
typically-
some stuff around, but it's not. It's like 1% of what we see.
right. I mean, I
the
get that it's
art
tough
show.
to carry it around because it's a whole lot of stuff. So it'd be tough to bring your comic book collection or a box of comic books to a show to trade and try to trade like four issues and some cash into like your big time item that you want or something. I just didn't know if that was a thing that if comic book sellers are ever interested in scaling down to more comic books that people can afford to buy off of.
What I've found, just because I've never tried to trade, but just kind of hanging around tables when those conversations go down, comic book dealers. It's almost like a vintage dealer. They would rather
That's what
just
I was gonna say.
have the key book rather than
Right.
like
And I
a
was gonna
smaller
say-
piece.
I was going to say, is it kind of like vintage? Because
It
in
is.
all honesty, vintage isn't really rare. It's high grade that's rare. So
Yep.
with comic books, the comic book issues aren't necessarily hard to find, unless you're collecting variants in the modern stuff. But it's hard to find some issues in higher grades, I guess.
Yeah, they just would rather like say I tried to trade like a giant size X-Men one for an X-Men one. They're gonna be like, no. Like,
Right.
but I mean, maybe they would give me like some credit towards it, but I'm gonna lose that deal. You are not. It's not like cards where you can more fairly negotiate. Like if you have $1,000 card and I have a $500 card, I'll give you the card in like $550 cash, and that would probably get it done in a lot of cases. In comics, it would be like you have a $500 book, I have a $1,000 book. You're gonna give me the book in like 600, 650, maybe even 700.
Okay.
At least from
Just
what I've
curious.
seen. Now, if you were trying to trade, you could probably flip it if you had something that was really in demand, or like maybe I had an X-Men one and I was looking to flip that into like smaller pieces. They would probably be more willing to do something like that.
Gotcha.
The thing that makes me a little bit nervous, and also just not in a huge hurry with comic book keys, is they are still finding a lot of Hulk 181s and giant size X-Men's. I mean, even the one that I got, pretty big purchase, but it came out in 1975. And when you think about like, George Brett rookie cards came out in 1975, and it's kind of roughly whatever. And it's like, those aren't like 70s baseball cards are everywhere. And, it's like, I understand like a comic book is more it's obviously bigger. It's, a lot of pages and all that, but it's not from the 40s, to where you just can't find it. So that's it. The only reason why I'm not like, I'm okay to hold off on like a Hulk 181. It's just crazy demand. It's kind of like 86 Fleer Jordans, where not rare, but just heavy demand for Hulk 181. So I'm okay just kind of taking my time. Lindsay, who typically, and I'll be perfectly honest here, Lindsay, if you're still on, I know this was 13 minutes ago, but she does not typically ever have a positive comment when she leaves a comment on my videos. But she has, Rob, would you rather have Joe Flacco or Tua as a Browns fan right now?
Ooh. I'll take Flacco because I already have 3 injured quarterbacks laying around, and Tua's just asking for trouble. Like him in a Browns uniform, I feel like he gets concussed putting the helmet on. The way we've been dropping quarterbacks like crazy.
Maybe. I don't know.
To circle back to your point, Dustin, like a giant size X-Men one, there is just shy of 12,000 of those in the CGC census.
And if you look back to we look at it for cards, the population growth has been tremendous over the last 3-4 years with the boom for cards and comic books. And that, again, that's another reason why it's like, unless it's really rare, if it's numbered or whatever, fine. If it's high grade vintage, fine, but otherwise it's just not a high priority unless kind of the price is right. Just because I think we're going through, it's obvious that we're going through a grading boom right now, to where a lot of stuff is getting graded. A lot of stuff has been graded over the last few years, and it just keeps on. So until I see grading slow down on a lot of this stuff, it's kind of like, that supply just keeps getting bigger.
A 181 is just under 14,000. I will say though, and this is one of the things that always appealed to me on comics, is that 12,000 is a lot, 14,000 is a lot, but with a non-modern comic, you only have one option for the first appearance of Wolverine.
And the other piece to that too is there are far fewer key issues in comic books than there are important rookie cards of athletes. So when you're looking at, how many Hall of Famers, how many, this, that, or whatever for cards, it's not really apples to apples, because if you're looking at X-Men books, for example, and you're looking at, okay, what are the big keys? You're probably talking about 20 or less books in total when you're talking about first appearances, important first appearances and issues. Maybe 25 books if we're being realistic. I know you can probably, and maybe we could argue that a little bit, Neo, but you could stretch on some minor keys maybe, but I would say there's probably 25 books that are the most important ones.
It's an interesting thought experiment. I'd have to sit down and actually make a list.
But then you compare that to how many Hall of Fame athletes are you after for vintage or whatever. It's way, way more. So it's concentrated into the interest is concentrated into far fewer items in comics.
Yeah, because you have a new rookie class every year for every sport that comes along. Comic books, you don't. How often does a new character really pop off? In the last 10 years, other than Miles and Gwen and maybe a handful of other characters to a lesser extent, but really Miles and Gwen are the only two first appearances that really go for close to $1,000 in a 9.8. There's a lot Miss Marvel, Riri. There's a lot of other characters that Silk, but those are a couple $100 on a modern book. There's just not a lot of new characters that actually pop off like that. They don't have the history.
Right. For Brad, the shocked face thumbnails, I have a pretty strong 80s, 90s t-shirt game, and actually get more comments about for my thumbnail, it'll be cool. I just came for the A-Team shirt. I came for the Ninja Turtle shirt. So really that's my focus more than the actual face that I'm making. I don't really know if that stuff works anymore. I know if you go back a few years that was a thing. And I still do it, of course, to some degree. But I've actually been kind of lazy, and I just reuse the same goofy face 17 times over. I probably need to mix it up a little bit.
I think I've put my face on 2 thumbnails in the history of my channel.
Ever.
Brad, shout out to Brad. He runs the Ship Shawana show.
Because if you don't do them, it doesn't help. Because I never did them, and nobody ever watched my videos. So maybe I should have.
Timeless Cardboard asking about the other Brad. I think that he's doing fine. I talk to him on occasion. He's still in LA doing his modeling stuff. I know he's not in cards anymore. I think he's setting up a program, some sort of like
a cult.
Well, you can call it whatever you want, Rob. But, yeah, no, I think that's fine.
I have a question for Steve. Are you wearing a Days of Thunder hat?
Yes.
I just feel good that I knew that.
A lot of people are probably
I kept looking at it, and I'm like,
a lot of people are probably hat? I know a lot of people are probably like, man, he's just wearing an old Chevrolet hat. And no, it's not. It's not.
Nah, that's the old
it is a Chevrolet, City Chevrolet.
Yeah,
it's his sponsor from.
Yeah, it was a sponsor.
Days of Thunder. Last week it was a Wayne's World hat. I hope you guys are taking notes. There's a national trip being given away.
Oh God. What hat was I wearing for 12 minutes on the December 13th show?
And now, if you all just look right here, and now nobody's going to remember any of the answers to any of the questions. I just erased.
This is what Steve does when he gets off of work. He just comes upstairs. Hey, he tells his wife, "I need an hour to myself." Not even when he's on a live stream, and he just hangs out with the toys. Draymond Green, I saw the knockout blow from the other night, and it's just kind of like, I know he's trying to do the Bill Laimbeer thing, but it's just so way over the top. I don't know. It's like a senile old man out there on the court. It's like, what's the what does he make, like $20 million to go and knock dudes out? I mean, I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing to me.
He right before we went live, he got suspended indefinitely. They didn't even give him a number of games.
It's just a weird thing. It's like, I mean, maybe even in the 80s when it would be like Laimbeer would do his goofiness, it was still not just like walking down the court and just taking a swing at somebody like that. It wasn't quite like that. I mean, it was he tried to make it look like it wasn't, like a punch to the face.
Someone was wondering, like, I wonder if he has like CTE or something. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think
he's like almost starting to go like, like when Antonio Brown went like crazy. Like his last year in the league, he was just like doing all sorts of crazy nonsense left and right.
Well, the thing too is on that play, it wasn't, and maybe there was other plays leading up that got him worked up, but I just couldn't see like what got him so worked up right there. Like was there
a swing like that? Like he swung like his life was in danger.
Yeah, like what? Like it didn't seem like there was trash talk. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah. And like a month ago, he choked out Rudy Gobert for like no reason. Like,
does he still get paid if he gets suspended, or does he not get paid?
No, you don't get paid if you're suspended for the stuff like that. I don't think.
All right. I do not collect any hockey to speak of.
I don't either.
Steve, do you have any hockey that you're looking at?
No, nothing that I'm looking at. I do have some hockey cards, but nothing that I've gotten recently.
How much money did each of you spend on breaks today to get Tom Brady Expos cards?
I blew my entire X-Men 1 budget to chase
the mortgage is due on Friday, and all of that money went to Tom Brady.
I don't have a mortgage, but I took a second mortgage out on the house.
Look at Neo flexing. I still have a mortgage, so there you go. I took all the mortgage money.
I wasn't into it. I've just been seeing the cards on Instagram, but I didn't even know when they were being released. I thought they were already released. So if they were released today, then I thought people have been breaking them all week the way it's been.
Question. So, and Rob, maybe you know this because you probably understand like Topps Now products better, but like I saw the Bill Belichick card with the inscription. I thought that was actually really cool. And it said $8.95, but I'm like, that's not what the card cost. What is the deal?
So normally Topps Now, when you buy one, you have they like randomly insert parallels numbered to a certain thing or lower.
Oh, okay.
You just have a chance to get one.
Okay.
Normally they sell the autographs separately. So like I'll use an example. Like when Terry Francona retired, they did a base card for like $8, and then they had an autograph card that was like $70, and there was like 100 of them or whatever. In this one, the autograph is the chase. So they're going to be randomly inserted in. There's 41 of them, I think, that he did.
Okay.
So like you're going to order 3 of the base card and you have a random chance to get an autograph card inserted.
Damn, so smart. They're so smart with that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they got me. I gave them $30 and bought 5 of them. Like,
because you're like, yeah, for $8, like, why not? You know.
Well, when you buy multiples, you get them cheaper. It's $8 if you buy 1. It's like $6.50 if you buy 5, and like $5.50 if you buy 10.
Okay.
Well, and I have a question for you guys, and this will allow chat to chime in as well. What would you rather have, an on-card auto of Tom Brady or an on-card auto on a football card or a baseball card?
Football card.
I mean, football card. I mean, any Brady auto is a Brady auto, but obviously if you're giving me a choice, I'm going to go a football card.
Now,
yeah, I don't agree with it. Any Brady auto is a Brady auto, honestly.
So, but I would take the inscribed one on a baseball card over a football card.
Because I mean, you could apply that to any player and say any auto of this person is just an auto. It a lot of time what dictates the value of it is what it's on. We were talking about this backstage about how memorabilia is often less sought after, especially in the card market where it's a lot cheaper. Like, I have a Larry Bird jersey hanging here that's autographed. Nice piece here. It's displayed. It's autographed. Certificate of authenticity. But it's a lot cheaper than going out and buying like a flawless on-card auto of Larry Bird. It's just a little card. Even if it had a small piece of a jersey patch on it, this is an entire jersey. So, it's not always someone's signature. It's just someone's signature. It's a lot of times it's what it's on.
The funny thing about that too, Steve, is you could say like, oh, well, with the card, it could be like game used and like your jersey. Right. I've got a Barry Sanders one, and it's basically just like a Fanatics jersey or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like a regular jersey. But now with all the player worn, like not associated with the player, like you're basically getting like all the entire player worn jersey with the signature as opposed to just the card. Yeah, I'm digging the inscription stuff. I like the Pete Weber one that they came out with. And I know that I think you said it backstage, it could get really watered down if we see a lot of the inscription stuff. I don't really care though. I hope that they continue that. It's still way better to have those as a chase than just the regular old, like, okay, we got another. I mean, I'm a Breeze collector, you guys know. And I mean, Breeze has signed a lot of stuff. I've got quite a few of his auto stuff, but man, if you start throwing in like, you know, the Cool Breeze or the Hurricane Drew, or you've got some different type of inscriptions, then it's a differentiator. What do you think, Rob?
I mean, I think they'll be naturally limited because it just takes time to do the inscription. So they're not going to be like, there's never going to be crazy numbers of them because the athletes or the personalities or actors or whatever just frankly don't have time to sit there and sign like 100 cards with an inscription. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's hard enough for them to get them tied down enough to burn through 100 autos, regular autos that takes them, 5 seconds per card or whatever, let alone to start doing like big, huge inscriptions on them. And like we were talking about Game of Thrones auto backstage, like some of those are really cool. Like they have the classic character quotes on them. And even the Game of Thrones pack inserted ones, they didn't do any duplicate inscriptions. So like,
Right.
it's all different inscriptions. Like there'll be multiple quotes from different characters. They didn't like completely overdo it. Now, if you keep doing that year over year for, set after set, maybe it waters down eventually, but supply on that stuff's just so low.
Right. And a couple questions that it'll raise for me though is, does the inscription have to be put on there by the player?
Well, that's
Yeah.
what people are asking me.
Will they just have people on the side putting inscriptions on cards and then the players just signing it?
Well, and that's what they
then-
were saying about the Bill Belichick. Like, how do you know that like Bill Belichick
Right.
wrote the inscription?
I mean, technically, Topps is supposed to be witnessing those.
Yeah.
Well, but they will stand behind the signature. But does the signature include inscription?
They
What
need
is
to
their
add
def-
that. They need to add that.
that-
verbiage.
yeah, that's what I mean. What's their definition of the signature?
They
Because
gotta
they
add
could loophole that and say, well, we did witness the signature. The inscription was put on there by somebody else. At that point, it just kind of becomes writing on a card. And anytime you mark up a card, isn't that considered damaging the card?
But I'm sorry though, if you're okay, so let's say that all the inscription ones that are pack pulled are going to be limited. So it's not 10,000 of them. It's going to be like, okay, the athlete's going to sign 1,000, but like 50 of them are going to have inscriptions. Let's just say, if it's going to be that limited, then you should be able to have somebody that's witnessing those,
Right.
because you're not going to have every athlete do the inscription. You're going to have stars do it, or you're going to have celebrities do it. You shouldn't
Right.
be sitting away for those. You should have somebody either go to them
Mhm.
or fly them in or whatever.
Well, and that's my thing. And I don't think there's any way to authenticate an inscription on the secondary market. I can't send an inscription to Beckett and have them authenticate it because it's not a signature. So again, that's what I mean by they're eyewitnessing the signature. Maybe adding that verbiage to it would be nice. And also the other thing is when it comes to grading autographs, I believe inscriptions are included when a grading company actually grades a signature. So it will add to scarcity on your autographs having it'll give them a bigger chance of not getting 10s because you have bigger chance for making errors when you're writing on the card as a player. So say for instance your Drew Brees says Cool Breeze. Does he sign it Drew Brees, Cool Breeze, or does I don't know how he signs it.
Yeah, Drew Brees, Cole Brees.
So if he signed
Drew.
If he signed Drew Brees and that was smooth, and then he wrote Hurricane Drew, but like smeared the N in Hurricane or something, that basically falters or damages from a greater standpoint the entire signature,
Right.
including the name. So I mean, from that standpoint, yeah, especially if it's low print runs and then some of them are really clean and some of them aren't, then it even limits them the ones that were more desirable. So it could add another version of rarity to it. We always talk about how grading can add like a certain amount of rarity to something that's already considered rare, but
Well, and then they got to add in, if you got
more variables.
then that next layer, it's got to be the game used from a specific game that's actually listed on the card.
And Upper Deck did that when they first started them, which was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it
Topps
says
does that
this,
now on high-end product.
but that's what I mean. Like that's what high-end products should be. It should be this came from the NFC Championship game on this date, whatever. Like that's what it should be. And Fanatics, there's no excuse how that Fanatics can't pull that off moving forward.
Topps Dynasty has not every card, but they'll have a limited selection. Like there's I have it on my eBay watch list. There's a Ronald Acuna. It has a piece of a baseball from like Game 5 of the NLCS or something. Like, I mean, they lay that out, and I think, and I forget the product. Is it Definitive Tier 1? I don't remember. Either a product that just released or is about to release. They are doing first milestones, where it is a relic from the base of the player's first hit.
I saw that.
I
Yeah.
don't remember what set it is. I think it's about to come out or just came out. If someone in chat knows, throw it in there. So, like, you could tell, like, New Wave fanatics are starting to push that. Plus, we just came off of the MLB debut patch, which was a massive, like, hit.
Yes. I love that. That's the stuff.
But once again, though, I don't know that you want that on, like, a top Series 1 patch card. You want that on nicer stuff, I think, for the same reasons you just talked about with inscriptions. Like,
Yeah.
if everything is tied to a specific game, then does it matter? Like, it waters it down.
No. That needs to be the flawless National Treasure stuff.
It would
yeah.
matter. It would matter depending on the game, though. Like, say it was a big time game or a big time event happened in that game.
Yeah,
I
but
remember
that's the stuff that they hold for, like, Topps Dynasty.
I mean, it could
Like,
just be something.
they're
simple.
pulling patches from, like, playoff games and stuff.
All right, Neil.
Well, they do the Topps Now card. Like, I haven't gotten it yet because it takes like 3 months. I have the Ellie De La Cruz with the base relic that was a Topps Now card of the game that he stole all 4 bases, where he stole all 3 bases around the horn and stole home. Like, they do Topps Now cards with that stuff all the time.
Rob, will there be an e-pack of Marvel Masterpieces?
Yes. First of the year.
First of the year, Big Papa. Draymond Green will be on
Prepare
Dancing
your
with the
wallets.
Stars next season. He'll be on Dancing with the Stars at some point, for sure.
I got another box of Marvel Masterpieces. David Adams had it on a Black Friday sale. It's sitting behind me.
What was the special?
$650 or $640 or something.
Well, what were they, like $700 or $800?
$900.
Holy hell! Jeez,
$850, $900.
Are you gonna open it or sit on it?
No, I'm gonna sit on that one sealed.
So many kids play Fortnite. Will those cards become way more valuable once they grow
Oh my
up?
God, that question was like
nostalgia?
40 minutes ago.
It's not too bad. 26.
Damn.
I think Fortnite, it does have chasers though, right? It's got like there's a few chase cards, I think, because I remember seeing like a few expensive Fortnite cards out of those packs. They're cheap boxes, but I think there actually is like a fairly sizable chase. There's some rare stuff.
Yeah, I don't know shit about it, but some of those sell for a ton of money.
I mean, I think with the video game type cards, I think there has to be more to it than a video game. The video game that people like, I think it has to become a giant marketing machine, you know, like Nintendo and Mario did, you know, and have everything, not just a video game that's popular with gamers.
Fortnite is like this generation's Mario. I mean, like
Yeah.
every kid is just living on that thing.
And that's what I mean. Maybe when somebody grows up years from now and they have the nostalgia and they want to go back and buy Fortnite cards, but that I think would be the only thing that would ever really like drive that.
You're creeping me out a little bit. Alternate sports card dad, Bizarro World sports card dad.
Unless they did something with like
chat.
unless it was something with like Wizards of the Coast where the cards were actually useful in a game mode or something. I mean, like look at video games.
Look at the old school Nintendo cards. Like some of those sell for tons of money, don't they?
Yeah,
Like
but
Nintendo
but
Power
you can't
cards.
compare Fortnite to Nintendo though. Nintendo is its own marketing monster. You know, it
I
has.
would
it
argue
has
that Fortnite is that for this generation.
movies. I haven't seen any Fortnite movies. I haven't. There's theme parks. There's Nintendo theme parks, and we're talking about an entire company in Nintendo as opposed to just one game. Nintendo is a company. Fortnite's a game. So it's like, what's Nintendo's number one game? Mario. So you would have to compare a game to a game. You know, I'm talking about lunchbox. I mean, everything. It's like they're like Kiss, the Kiss of the rock and roll world. They market everything.
I like the graded game stuff. I love that stuff. I think it's funny because you had like the big rise and the crash, but the crash is great. I mean, that's the whole. Now like a lot of the stuff has come way down in price. I would rather just buy the actual retro games, sealed games, and buy a card for it. But it's just me.
Yeah, but like I said, I'd like, or like you said, Neo, imagine the people that play Fortnite now growing up and want to go back and get cards, because that's how it happened with Nintendo. It was older, middle-aged guys that played Nintendo when we were young that's buying Nintendo cards and making them worth money. I mean, I have I have an Allen and Ginter card of Charles Martinet autograph here because he's the voice of Mario. So, you know, it would, like I'm saying, this generation is going to have to grow up, have money, and then have that nostalgia to want to go back and buy those cards.
Yeah, cards and comics, Golden Age comics, much more rare than pre-war, especially in good condition. Especially in good condition. It's interesting watching, and actually, he would know too a lot about this. There's a lot of kind of going back to Golden Age comics, a lot of really niche stuff. You know, horror comics going.
Yeah, a lot of pre-code horror.
Oh, that's what I was just about to ask
They
Leo
sell
about.
for
If you know anything
huge-
about that.
They sell for huge money.
It's like a whole other thing. Like,
Well,
and I
okay.
just
Because you know how we all follow Elite Comics on Instagram, and sometimes I'll be scrolling and there'll be like an old horror comic book, and I'll look at the price, the asking price of it, and I'll be like, "Wow!"
because those things.
I've
are
never
like,
even. I was going to say I've never even literally. I've like never even heard of this comic book before, but there must be a high end collector market for like old horror comic
that
books.
stuff is like ultra vintage baseball. Like, think of it like that.
Okay.
And the people that go after that stuff are insane, and that's kind of one of those things that a lot of that stuff just does not come to market. But I don't
Really,
know much
really
about
old.
it. It's like a market inside a market inside a market.
Okay. I know really, really old like Captain America stuff, like the first, like the original Captain America stuff.
Yeah, if you have any old
Comes
cap
up,
stuff with like a
it's
Nazi
like-
symbol on it or like a World War II cover, that stuff goes for astronomical sums.
Yeah, I
But
see those.
Golden Age, like pre-code horror, even predates that stuff.
Maybe vintage card collector. I see your point there. Maybe. Yeah. I still say though there's a lot more players than that are collected than key books when it comes to
Yeah,
the
I guess that's true. If you're strictly comparing vintage to like Silver
Yeah.
Age,
Are there 25 players in football that eat up all the market share?
probably not. I mean, it's probably Jim Brown and a handful of quarterbacks.
Yeah, it'd be tough to make that list. At 25.
Especially also, what are you considering vintage for football? Like, is it
Yeah,
Jerry
true.
Rice like considered vintage or no for football?
Yeah, I know. Like when you get to be my age, it's like, what is vintage? Because to me,
Because if you're
Jerry
going
Rice
true
is-
vintage, like it's really a handful of guards. Paul's probably
Yeah.
having an aneurysm somewhere
Well,
right now.
And if you're talking about so vintage, if we're talking about 50s, 60s, 70s, or are we talking about pre-war as well? Because I don't know. I just feel like think about pre-war, you throw in pre-war, there's so many just random cards that are very rare. On REA, there was a great example of this going back a couple of months, but there was a 6-figure card and it was just an error card going back. It was a tobacco card. And it was like the white border and they only made 10 of them type thing.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the argument you were going for on the comic book side, though. It was more like key books, like not because they're super niche, because they're major characters.
But
So
I guess
you have to compare apples to
Because
apples.
because comic books could have newsstand or they could have price variants that drive their value.
Yeah, like you're not going to compare AF-15 to the random REA card that you were talking about.
no,
you
but
know
if
what
we're
I
just
mean?
talking about where does the money flow, like so in comic books, the money flows up to far fewer books. Now you actually bring up a really great point though about like the Golden Age horror books or like because those do eat up a lot of money as well.
I think that's your pre-war comparison.
Maybe.
Because that would be that's the comic book equivalent. Like
Hold
pre-code
on.
horror
Is this-
is like the pre-war.
Steve just got shook by something. What's up?
No,
buddy?
I just
Yeah.
saw someone in the comments named Josh Giddy Super Collector, and I think that's someone else. Maybe. That's not Dex Flow, is it?
Lord, do we just have like all the prison inmates come into the chat every 2
No,
weeks?
Josh Giddy Super Collector. That's because that avatar used to be. Was that Dex Flow's avatar?
I'm not there. I'm 27 minutes behind you, Steve.
Yeah, Dustin's like the night that Dustin has a hard out, he's the furthest behind in chat he may have ever been.
We answered this question, Hobby Champs. Rob is still controlling his fantasy team, but he is technically a ghost. Haven't heard anything from him outside of him running the team on the back end.
Hey, as long as he sets a lineup, that's all we care about.
Will he win? That'll be interesting. And will he come out and speak if he does win? I hope so. Draymond versus Logan Paul. Fair enough. Yeah, it's just weird. It's like It doesn't make any sense. Connor Bidet, I see what you did there, Bob Boozle. Nice one. Trader Griffs thinks that you live with your mom because you don't have a mortgage. He's just financially responsible. That's all. Trader Griffs.
We spit our
Where's
house.
that?
No, actually, he's just 40-something years old with no kids. Like,
Yeah, my wife and I don't have kids.
There you go.
We both have full-time jobs and we don't have kids. That's what happens when you don't have kids.
It's only $2K for the national spot. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Thoughts on Ziggy's unrelenting support for Card Ladder? I think that I am going to name my repack product Ziggy Packs. I think that that makes the most sense.
Ziggy pack.
I'm going to put endorsed by Ziggy on my upside down packs. I just think it makes sense. There's no one that loves repacks more.
You keep making these repack jokes, and people are actually going to think that you have a repack coming out. I'm starting to believe
That's
it.
a shtick.
I might
get one?
That's his whole shtick.
I might do it just for the content, just so I can get some reaction videos out of it. I might do it.
Can I have one to break on my channel? I'll do a video.
And then you have to be like, what? You have to really flip out, be upset.
But don't put anything good in it, because then, we'll get blamed for,
It's got to
you
be
got something,
the,
yeah,
I bought
the
into,
shit card.
bought into Dustin's $1,000 premium level repack, and let's see what I got type deal.
I got the hit. I got the chase card.
Jordan's baseball autos are worth less than his basketball. Does he have a lot of baseball card autos pack pulled? I don't know.
There is one
I think there's
from
a couple.
Upper
I
Deck
remember.
that's really, really rare that I actually think outsells a lot of his basketball. It might be from Upper Deck MVP. I think it's from a really low end product. Cards and Comics actually might know the card that I'm talking about, but I think it's a low end Upper Deck product where he signed some of his. It's not the Upper Deck what's supposed to be a short print card on the White Sox. It's not that Upper Deck card. It's one of his ones that came out like a year later. It might be Collector's Choice, or it's a low end Upper Deck product, but I think they threw some on card auto Jordans in those, because one surfaced a couple months back on a big sale because the card is like, it's like hen's teeth, they're really hard to find. But I'm not an expert on that. Maybe Cards and Comic knows what card I'm talking about.
Sweet spot auto in baseball, he said.
I'm just getting to all the inscription comments in the chat. Just moving through those.
Okay. The sweet spot cards are kind of not very desirable. I don't know why. Maybe because they're signed on like a piece of baseball and then inserted into the card, so it's almost like a cut. Because I had the Cal Ripken Ernie Banks dual auto out of Sweet Spot, and I remember when I bought that how surprisingly cheap it was at the time. And a lot of them are signed with like ballpoint pen because they're on that type of material.
I never heard of this, but that's cool. McFarlane Barry Bonds figure that had a piece of home plate from the World Series in the base of the figure. I've never heard of that. That's really neat.
I knew that he made figures. I didn't realize he had one with a game used piece in it.
Yeah, McFarlane's action figures are pretty awesome. Legos. Anybody in on Legos? This is a Rudy Alpha Investments question here.
Legos is one of those things. I see some of the sets and I'm like, oh my God, that looks amazing. And I want one. And then part of me is like, I'm so thankful I never got into Legos because they take up a ton of space and they're ridiculously expensive, but they look so awesome.
Yeah, Rudy's got warehouses, so he can do that.
You ever been to any like the Lego stores, like the one in New York?
Yeah,
City,
we were at the one in Disney not that long. What this past
Disney
year when I
World.
went there.
Yeah,
Like, they just came out with an Avengers tower. It's like it all lights up. Like it looks. I would love to get that, but it's like it's like $1,000, and it's like, what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
It just takes up a mountain of space. I feel like there's like an alternate version. There's like a variant of me that got hardcore into Legos instead of cards.
Legos hurt. They hurt when you step on them. Your bare feet.
That's why you got to keep them sealed.
Yeah, right.
NFL and NBA not as old as MLB. That's true. Baseball's just they had a head start. It was America's game for a long, long
Yeah,
time.
if you're talking about vintage NBA, you're talking about like 2 cards.
Yeah, there's no pre-war NBA. Yeah, Brie Larson, not a popular Marvel actor at all. Probably for good reason. Just annoying, frankly.
I didn't even see the Marvels movie. I heard it was so terrible that I was like, well, I guess I just won't even go see it.
I'm like the opposite of Seabiscuit, Trader Griff's. I start out really strong and then just kind of fade down the stretch.
Yeah, but then, no, I feel like down the backstretch, you finally start to catch up.
It's just because he just skips to the end.
But
People
you never
get exhausted. Well, and people get exhausted of commenting and not like me being behind. So then,
Well, yeah, they get tired of waiting on you to get to their comment.
And you're right. This was Dex Flow's deal. I don't know if that is Dex Flow or what. It has to be. He's talking about toys. That's definitely Dex.
Yeah.
Flow.
It is. He commented 20 minutes from now that it's him.
Yeah, Dex. Next time, if you're still here, I know you're probably not, but if you still are, good to see you.
I know. See, I had noticed Dex Flow as soon as he popped up, man.
Dex Flow sent me graded action figures like 3 years ago in the mail. I got a box that was like the size of my office. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm jealous now. I feel left out.
Dex is the man.
And I thought we were going to do a Christmas live stream extravaganza next week. So I had like a light up necklace and everything to wear. And then you guys drop it on me right before we go live. Oh, I guess we'll be having our show. Our next show will be after the new
We go
year.
every 2 weeks.
And I'm like, yeah, but it's Christmas.
Well, yeah. So do that in 2 weeks.
Steve, you know what? You're allowed to go live without us.
Yeah, I know. I might just do that.
You're allowed to make a video without.
Yeah, you have your own YouTube channel. You're allowed to do things on there.
I might.
It's
Don't be hitting me up. Don't be hitting me up trying to be a special guest either. What do you guys think? If I did a live stream on, let's see, Christmas is on a Sunday or Monday, right?
On Monday.
The day after Christmas is a Tuesday.
Well, we're streaming that.
I have to work
Wednesday
Christmas Eve. I have to work Christmas Eve, but I get out of work fairly early. But I'm not going to live stream on Christmas Eve. People are going to be with their families.
Why would you? I mean, look, we're next up on the 27th, 2 days after Christmas. We can talk about all the gifts that we got or gave or whatever.
Oh,
yeah, we're going to do our New Year's resolutions. That's going to be the next episode.
I thought you said something about our next live stream would be after the New Year's. Okay.
I said it'll be right before the New Year.
Yeah, I really hope your resolution is to make more videos. That would be good. Make any videos. Turtles put all of his money into Saddam Hussein rookie cards. The Raleigh guy's upset with me now and wants Neo to control the stream. Everything's going downhill. Damn it, man. Now the next time I go to the Raleigh show and see this guy is going to be like talking smack.
We talked about him earlier, and Dustin won't see this for 30 minutes, but Swaggle.
You skipped the Michael Jackson question.
No, I was on it. You just didn't see it. I sat on it.
What?
What time?
9:29. James.
Yeah, I was
James
literally
asked me about Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson.
You were talking about how you're not making
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was not. We talked about that in the beginning. Well, anyway, it says once the truth comes out about Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson being Michael Jackson's parents, the truth is out. People just have to accept it. The truth is already out. People have to accept it. Anyway, I like their collectibles as is, but would it be cool to have them all signed on something? It would, regardless of the situation. It would be awesome. If people accepted that was possible, then yeah, it would be more valuable. In my opinion, it would be.
All right, great.
But I love rock and roll stuff as it is, all music stuff.
John's happy now. You've appeased him. You've said the piece.
That's not even John's question.
I wish that
it's
you would
James.
I know, but you're speaking directly. You're speaking to John. So, John,
No,
we're recognizing the thing. We're recognizing.
No, because that has 2 silver coins there, and that might actually be somebody else that I know. Because everybody's names in the chat has changed.
Well, he's asking.
Have you guys noticed that recently?
He's asking for John. So I think that we've said
Look.
that's a thing.
Look, there's more people out there that believe this.
I'm
than-
saying I think it's probably true. I'm saying I think it's probably true. We've said it.
It'd be an awesome movie, wouldn't it?
Ziggy Pax at the Atlanta Culture Collision. Rob, are you coming to Culture Collision, or are you going to be lame and stay back?
I don't know.
Who, Rob?
Yeah. He's not coming.
Well, even if he comes, he's lame. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing. Hey, by the way, we were talking about the National because I was asking Dustin if he was coming alone this year or not. And so he thinks that he's probably going to be by himself this year, which means 3-hour Italian dinner. He'll be able to make it this time.
I might be able to come to the 4 hours.
He'll be able to make it this time.
I don't know
Michael
if there's anywhere in
Ham's-
Cleveland we could get a 4-hour Italian dinner.
What would you recommend? Did you put good places to eat in Cleveland in your video?
I did. Yeah, I was saving that for closer to the national.
Oh,
in case
that's-
they change.
I was the video I was waiting for.
That one will be out like a month before the national. Because if I do one now, like restaurants might close by then, or new
Well,
ones
look,
might open.
I told my wife, I said, look, I'm going to the Cleveland National this year. When I go, I'm going to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm going to the NFL Hall of Fame or Football Hall of Fame. I want to take the Shawshank Redemption tour that you were talking about. And she loves that movie. And then all of a sudden she's like, maybe I'll go to the National with you this year. And I'm like,
So Dustin and I will be eating the
Well,
3-hour
maybe.
dinner without Steve.
Yep.
well, doesn't Erica go with you?
Yeah, but she won't go to this one because I'm not
Oh.
really going anywhere.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, she'll be going with me, as in just staying at home where we live.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's probably not as inviting. Hey, babe, you want to go to downtown Cleveland?
She actually likes going to downtown Cleveland, but
Who's grading unopened Legos? Are they graded?
I don't think that's a thing yet.
Do
but
they?
Now that you've spoken into existence, someone's
well, you know,
I'm sure it's on a PSA whiteboard somewhere.
it's Upside Down Grading Company starting up in January. I wasn't going to talk about it yet, but send all your Legos. I'll give you the PO box. We'll get them graded up. Team
Just
four.
mentioned Stranger Things. The Bonds McFarlane.
just mention Stranger Things if you want Dustin to read your
I
comments.
guess that Bonds McFarlane is a real thing, man. I never heard about that, but yeah, that sounds.
Where do they go for?
I don't know, but Dexflow commented that it's a grail for I guess toy collectors. I guess the McFarlane stuff, sports stuff, can cross multiple platforms. With it being a toy in essence, with it being a sports figure, also, that stuff kind of touches all different.
And the McFarlane angle. Like there's
The
people that just
McFarlane.
collect McFarlane.
Well, didn't he start doing toys because he had an injury to like his wrist or his drawing hand or nerve damage or something, and he was
I
having
forget
trouble
what the
drawing?
backstory on that is.
Yeah, he was having trouble drawing the Spider-Man comics, and he stepped away.
What's up,
and
Swaggle?
he started doing the sculpting. Now, was that pre or post Spawn? Because once he created Spawn, he started his own comic label, which was Image, and Spawn was his launching character.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the flagship. And you had Rob Liefeld had Youngblood, and you got Savage
Yeah.
Dragon and all these guys. Yeah.
Yeah, Savage Dragon. Yeah,
Yeah.
Supreme.
Absolutely. There's a ton, like the old Image stuff is so damn good. I love it.
It
Yeah, I
was
really want
nice.
like a Wildcats one.
Wildcats. There's some.
Oh yeah, Wildcats.
There are some too, like gold foil type stuff.
Mhm.
That's actually
Yeah.
kind of rare. Like they actually have some rare variant ones that not like today where they've got like 1,000 different variants that are.
Yeah, I think Supreme had a big embossed silver letters on the first run of them.
I used to also have Valiant stuff like Exo Manowar, Bloodshot, and all that stuff. I don't know.
Valiant.
Shadow Man. They had good storylines, but it never caught on.
Let's see. Sports Card Dad. Use toothpicks. There you go. Toothpicks. Anybody got some toothpicks? Have you ever seen a Clockwork Orange?
Oh yeah.
Just you put one of those things on and stare at the screen and then see if you have nightmares when you wake up in the morning.
Hustle and Crow said he once sold one of the Bonzes for $2,000.
Did Dusty get permission to hang out with his friends by himself? I run my house. Spurs Cards 21. Big talker in the chat. Not so much in person. I remember you at the National. Big talker.
Didn't you say before we started your wife said you had to be off by 10:01 at the latest for bedtime?
Yeah, she's actually yelling right now, and I'm just ignoring her.
For real? No.
No.
Are you still home? You have a flight in the morning, right?
I have a flight that I thought was at 7. It's actually at 5 Eastern.
AM?
Oh,
So I'm hanging out with you guys, and
Are
I've got
you
a
flying
flight.
out of
I
Raleigh?
might not go to sleep.
yikes.
Are you flying out of Raleigh or
Yeah.
Charlotte?
Flying out of Raleigh. Flying out of Raleigh. Flying out of Raleigh. Flying from Raleigh, Charlotte, grab my brother-in-law, and then down to Mexico.
What are you doing
So
for
you're
content? Did you pre-record a bunch of stuff, or are you recording while you're down there?
I'm
Or
going to
both?
record a video after this. And
Oh
then,
man,
yeah, I'm going to take a 2-hour nap, and then I'm going to get on a plane. Because I'm
I'll film
committed
videos
to
for
you.
you.
I'm committed to you guys. I'm committed to the channel. I'm committed to it. I don't know who alternate Bizarro World Sports Car Dad is talking about, but if he's talking about me, then
Carlos.
unbelievable.
He's talking about Carlos.
Oh, Carlos. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. You take shots at Carlos. Yeah, Javi Champs. Thank you. If you could also log in with your alternate accounts, your Bizarro World. If you could
Bobby
do
Champs is the
the
real
Hobby
hero.
Champs, if you could log in with the Hobby Champs and also hit the like, we'd appreciate it.
How many likes do we have? Let's see how bad people want to see the video that I've already made.
The
If we get this many likes, I'll upload the video that I'm
Holy
supposed to upload
cow.
tomorrow.
We got to audit the likes. Ziggy's auditing the repacks with his name on them. So they're endorsed by him because they're going to have his name on them. Who is auditing the likes on this video? Is it almost 10:01? I'm at the end of the chat. I'm completely caught up.
You caught up. I told you, you're like Seabiscuit at the end.
Everybody gave up. Everybody gave up.
Look, I only have 8 likes. I only have 8
Actually,
likes
Perk,
over on my stream.
Actually, Perk, the way it works is if you're talking to me at dinner, I wait for about 10, 15 minutes and then I respond to what you're saying.
When I get 25 likes over on my live stream, I'll upload my video, which means my video is not going to get uploaded.
Oh man. Precursor to Home Alone. Yeah. Hopefully we don't leave the kids. That would be bad.
What if you're the child in this situation? Like you're the one left behind.
I might be. I might just completely miss the alarm. I might need a GoFundMe. You're right.
This is gonna, since you're going out of the country, you realize tomorrow afternoon is when Fanatics is gonna buy Panini or something crazy, right?
Well, I'll just go live from Mexico. I'm on the beach. I'll do it like
Your internet barely
breaking-
functions with you at home. I can only imagine you on Mexico internet.
It's actually not bad. Like where we're going is fine. Yeah, I know. I thought it would be really bad, and it's actually not bad at all.
So now that we're an hour and almost 15 minutes in, so we start hitting on some of the talking points that we were thinking about talking about.
I was too busy
Yeah,
getting
most of them.
I was doing a great job with the chat. All right, Steve.
think
go
the
ahead.
only
Okay,
we talked
okay,
about
let's
was-
see. Fantasy football rundown check, which someone
Check.
actually asked questions about it because
Yeah,
they
we
missed
did,
the beginning of the live stream.
Yeah,
Oh.
we talked about the Tom Brady stuff. Check.
Yeah, we talked about
Slight
that.
talk about on the Tom
we talked
Brady,
about inscription autos. Check.
We talked about all of them.
autos.
The only thing we
Little
didn't talk about was Universal Pop Report.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Universal Pop Report, and we didn't talk about Prism and stuff getting pushed back.
Oh, go ahead, Steve. Fire it off.
Yeah, go.
What do I look like? Walter
You're the one
Cronkite?
brought it up. We didn't even talk about that pre-stream.
No, look, there goes Dustin. Dustin, don't sleep now. Then you won't be able to sleep on the plane.
Let me get about 20 minutes.
Save
Steve.
it.
Go ahead. Just start talking about Prism.
No, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Prism being pushed back with? CJ Stroud is in concussion protocol, and
I think
Houston
it's still going
has
to come.
lost a couple games, but
So, Rob, do you think it's getting pushed back because of lawsuits, or do you think it's just like a random pushback, like a normal pushback?
I think it got pushed back because Fanatics controls the printers and probably said, you'll get it when you get it.
right.
Yeah, I don't.
That-
I think it's coming out.
You think
Well,
it
it
kinda
is. It
hurts-
has a release date. It just got pushed back into January.
Does it hurt the value you think of like CJ Stroud prisms when they finally hit, or does it make stuff that's already out more desirable because people got to have something to get their fix?
I think it'll just temporarily inflate the stuff that's currently on the market until Prism comes out.
Yeah. Kind of like remember when hoops used to come out for basketball and
same
people
thing.
would buy it crazy and then it would die. But like, if it doesn't come out like till next year, It's probably not even going to be out till after. Does it have a new release date?
Yeah, it's like January 7th. It's like the first week of the year.
So, are we still in regular season then? We'll still be.
I think that would be
yeah.
like right after week 18, I think.
Yeah. So, basically,
It'll depend. Like if Stroud,
Yeah,
like I mean, they're on the bubble for the
if
playoffs.
they're in the
If Stroud's playing
playoffs-
week one of a playoff game and he
Right.
wins, then it'll just be very situational. It doesn't matter that Stroud's going to have the buzz going. He's going to be the guy that everyone's going to want at the National.
But the thing is more rookies flop than succeed, right? So more rookies flop than succeed. So when the product comes out so late, people kind of have less to chase. You know, in the beginning of the year, say if Prism was out before week 1, people would have been chasing all of the quarterbacks. You know, Bryce Young, who's been a bust, Anthony Richardson before he got hurt. People would have been chasing a lot of these other players than just CJ Stroud. In fact, it had probably been chasing those guys more than CJ Stroud. And then now that we've got to see the season play out, CJ Stroud, surprisingly to most, has been the best quarterback out of the class so far. Richardson was hurt. Bryce Young is just in a terrible situation. I don't really know how to judge his play other than he's really on a bad team. But he's also playing bad quarterback too. So
Yeah.
it's like, but you know, when Bryce Young cards hit, there's not going to be the hype around him that there would have been if they were to hit the desirable products were to hit prior to the season. You know, we'll be a few months out of the NFL draft by the time the products, and I know this has been an ongoing revolving problem that's happened since COVID. But at what point do you think the companies catch up to make people? Because it definitely has to hurt them. Not only are they not getting the product on the market, when they do get it on the market, it's less desirable because you already know how the season has played out, and you're already looking towards next season.
Whoa, Dustin, it's not that kind of strange.
Sorry, I had to just change my pants. Sorry, guys. I
Well,
thought I
I
was
mean,
gonna,
like, what did I say in the video? The NBA 2022 Flawless, like Paolo Banchero's rookie year, is coming out in January 2024. Or I'm sorry, February 2024.
Is that like 2 years after his rookie season?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, it'd be like it's like a year and a half. Like, because he's in his second season right now. Like he's a third of the way into his second season. We were going to get Flawless Basketball 2022-2023 in February of 2024. That's the last NBA release.
my God.
Yeah, and then you have after Prism, you still have Optic and Select to hit, which are products that people like. But at that point that they're hitting, we're like starting to look at draft cards in April coming
In
around.
the past, I believe, if my memory is correct, it's been so long now, like pre-COVID, Prism football would come out like around the middle of the season. And Prism basketball would usually come out right before Christmas.
Well, I mean, because
around Thanksgiving.
even with Bowman University and products like that, you have people chasing guys already that haven't even declared for the NFL draft. So I think it waters down the current rookie class.
Maybe we should do an SCV sports cards and just instead of doing like, ooh, which rookie quarterback are we going to buy? Maybe it should be like, all right, which like college uni cards are we buying and grading up? Yeah, because like all this like this stuff is just taking forever to come out. Like I want like watching his stuff. I'm like, okay, it seems like there's pretty decent margin if you get the right, get the right price point on some of those.
Right.
Well, and the other thing with those guys is like if the rumors are true, basically every top quarterback in next year's class is Fanatics exclusive. So they're not even going to have Panini autos. Now, the risk there is by the time we get to 2024, Fanatics and Panini might be one company, or Fanatics might be making licensed football cards. Who knows? I mean, I think we're all one press release or Darren Ravel tweet away from that really happening to something breaking in that one way or the other. If Panini loses this motion to dismiss or whatever.
And like to this discussion, like probably the lowest end of the decent cards, all that's out really right now is like Mosaic. I mean, because you have all the other paper products, and Mosaic's out, but it's completely ungradable. Like there's no quality control. Is that going to carry? That'll probably carry over into all of their other products, because right now, if you can't get your Prism cards, you would probably settle for Mosaic because it's not actually a bad looking product from an aesthetics standpoint, but it's a bad looking product from a quality control standpoint. And that stuff is sitting in blaster boxes and mega boxes in my local Walmart for weeks. Mosaic football just sits there. Every day I go in there, it's there. Nobody's buying it. So,
because retail's such a terrible rip.
Right.
You just get smoked.
But I mean, it would be a cool rip for, say, a 12-year-old. It's just, but nobody's buying it. The price is jacked way up to where if you're a 12-year-old, you got to fork out almost, I guess, $30 for a blaster box of low quality control product that doesn't really have anything that you can hit in it. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of bad.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. Like, I'd be willing to bet we're not going to see Prism football sitting on shelves or Prism basketball because of Wemby. Like, Mosaic's one thing, but I'd be shocked if we see Prism blasters sitting on the shelf with Stroud sitting in them, even at a $30 blaster price. Prism's still Prism,
right? Prism basketball last season though sat around here.
Yeah, but the rookie class sucked.
Well, that Paolo was pretty good, right?
Yeah, but he's not. He's on the Magic. No one cares.
Yeah, but
well then,
Wemby's on the Spurs. No one cares except Spurs cards in the chat.
Wemby's Wemby.
I guess.
I would be shocked if Prism football sits. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not going to sit like the Mosaic's been sitting, but I think it'll be obtainable. Are you going to be able to go in and fill your shopping cart with it if you wanted to? Probably not, but I think you'll be able to find a couple, hanger packs or a blaster box, a couple strays here and there.
Yeah. I think we don't see product get on track until Panini just doesn't have it anymore. Because even Fanatics is slightly behind on baseball releases. Like, we should be getting, I think someone mentioned in my comments today, we should be getting a 2024 Series 1 preview already, and we haven't seen that yet. But they're not, like, super off the track. Not like, Panini's, like, so far behind on stuff. And they're not going to get caught up because Fanatics controls the printers. So, like, Fanatics stuff's going to print first.
But if why not build another one? Like, here's the other thing is like, and it's probably easier said than done, but are we just going to be waiting? Like, are we just going to wait for them to acquire another printer? Are they going to start another one? Like, they obviously need more printers. I think that's clear. If they're running Panini stuff and their stuff or
I'm sure that's not the easiest thing to spin up. I can only imagine what those
just print less.
Like. That's the trick. Is like you don't need flux. You don't need like.
Oh yeah, get rid of all the those
Ziggy finally caught. Ziggy finally caught up with the Ziggy packs.
What is he here?
Yeah, he's the last comment. He doesn't like it.
I'm behind again by 4 minutes. I'm behind again by 4 minutes.
Ziggy, they're called Ziggy packs because you have to approve them. They get your stamp of approval first.
I saw Derek Carr up close. I've been watching him all year, and I'm not seeing great things. A Nani, whatever. I'm not seeing
check down Prince.
He is, and then or if he doesn't get sacked first. You know what though? Here's the deal. I would rather see them yelling at each other than laughing and like joking around on the sidelines. If they're yelling at each other, that means that they care about something. I agree with you. Breeze is a Saints GOAT, no doubt. But I would much rather see them yelling at each other and fighting. That's actually, to me, like that's good. I want to see in a relationship, if you're not fighting, if you're not, kind of yelling at each other on occasion, that's not a good thing. You need to have some arguments.
How many games did you go to this year for the Saints?
I've just been to one. I went to the Lions game this past week. Not they played the Panthers this past week, the week before that. My brother upgraded us to like the second row on the 45-yard line. It was absolutely insane. So that was really cool. That made it.
I saw you in a photo with your brother.
It was like 21-0. Like we blinked in the first 60 seconds and the Lions were up 21-0. And we're like, we're literally going to be the best seats in the house to watch their biggest blowout ever. It's going to be like 80-0. And they ended up coming back, but it was really cool.
Bob Boozle, that will not work. We do not want the Saints in Dover, Delaware. That's like 15 minutes from me. We have 3 teams around here that everybody fights over already: Baltimore, Philly, and Washington.
Is Derek Carr going to be back next year, or are they ditching him? What's his contract situation?
So we either have him on a 3 or a 4-year deal, but we've got a team option on the 3rd. So basically, he's our quarterback for 2 years. So we got him this year, next year, and then we can bail after that. So we're going to bail and draft Arch Manning. That's what's going to happen.
And then Dustin sells his house to buy into breaks.
And it's going to be incredible. The Arch Manning. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy. Like so it's always like, don't speculate on the new quarterback. And then I'm going to be first in line to speculate on the new quarterback.
I can already see the thumbnail. This one's different.
It's different this year, guys. You don't understand.
You'll be the guy that pays $4,000 for the PSA 10 base Donruss.
It's for the content. It's for the content. Paul Rubin, who's going to run the training card?
That was Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman. Yeah, I still got my gold Derek Carrs. I still have them. I didn't. Here's the thing, though. I didn't spend very much on them. That's the one thing. I mean, so I wasn't buying high. They were never high. Nobody was ever excited about Derek Carr. So it's not so bad.
Now's when you double down because they're even cheaper.
I was like, we got to own 5 of these. I need to have the entire run 1 through 10.
Isn't that what therapists try to do with Eli Manning? Careful.
Oh, did he try to get all of the entire run?
I just know that was Eli Manning golds that he was bidding on.
God, who the hell? Jeremy Lee on the mind for the Bizarre World Sports Card Dad.
What's going on with him?
So naive.
Is there something going on with Jeremy Lee?
I don't know. I don't
know. I like Ziggy's take at 10 p.m. on Prism cards, though.
I'll be there in about 15 minutes. Just give me some time. All right, I'll skip down.
No, it's okay. You're not too far behind.
Ziggy Packs,
Not that one.
Angry Face.
It's almost Dusty Buns' bedtime. He's got to get back up on chat.
Dusty Buns.
And you don't remember sports. This dude called out the altered Brady. Is this one you're talking about?
No.
Oh, okay.
Next.
No. Like, yeah.
2 comments.
Not move the Saints to Dover, Delaware. That would be right down the road from me.
I'd still come. I would be there. I would
be good for the casino business.
But like Ziggy says, Prism doesn't need autos, and I agree with that. I think there's a lot of product out there that people buy for the autos. Like the Contender ticket has always kind of been the staple since I was in the cards in the late 90s. Like 98 is when they started. And then, of course, you get all the really high tier stuff. But I think Prism should be what it is, like Prism, just a good base chromium card. And it's called Prism for a reason. It's supposed to have some kind of shine to it, different types of, colors and stuff like that. And
well, and there's going to be some cool inserts. You've got the gold prisms, you've got the black finites, you've got chases in there without autos. Yeah.
And then a lot of times the Prism autos are ugly. They're either stickers or they have that big clearing out. Yeah, they're stickers and they take up a bunch of room almost to cut into the card. I think that I don't know. I've never been a fan of Prism autos as it is. Like if I'm going to buy an auto that's more affordable, I'm going to look into like Contenders, which is going to be a step below like your National Treasures and your Flawlesses, and even Panini 1-in-1 is a good product. It's expensive, but I mean the cards in it are nice. Man, you guys make me sick. But yeah, I do. I think that's a good point. Like if they were to cut out some of the unnecessary stuff in Prism, and that's just my take. Maybe the majority likes Prism autos, and then it would be stupid marketing for Prism to remove it, or for Panini to remove them. But it would help get the product out. And I honestly don't. Well, in my opinion, I wouldn't think it would hurt the product.
Vintage card collector, would you rather spend $1,000 on a new Prism hobby box or a 90s football box like Skybox EX 2001? I just feel like I would be like the reaction of like Ace Ventura, like after kissing Finkel and Einhorn or whatever, after I open that $1,000 box and get nothing out of it. That's where I really I know that I would feel absolutely sick about it. So I would just rather buy just one card or buy singles. That's where I really struggle. with spending huge money, unless it's something where I'm spending $1,000 to sit on it and hold it. If it's a box, it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to sit on that box for a long time. I don't know.
If I was to buy some 90s football product like the EX 2000 or whatever, I like 98, man. That's a good. And there's a couple good rookies out of there. At one time, that rookie class was really, really big, but I just remember
about Pacific Prisms. Is that what we're talking about?
90s Prism.
For the 90s Prisms. Disney Chrome on UK Topps today. I don't follow the Disney Chrome stuff.
It was like that Kakawa 100 stuff, but it was a UK only release because of the licensing agreements.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it'll be popular.
90s Prism over Modern Prism. I saw where you had pulled that up. I'm trying to jog my memory and think of what would be a 90 Prisms card. There was like the Pacific, early Pacific stuff had inserts in it that looked like Prism, like disco balls and stuff. But then Prism put out some good products in like 96 and 97. Cool. Remember the cards that would be like gold? What Prism product was that? They had like a little photo of the player down in the corner, and the photo was like see-through. It was almost like a little piece of plastic. And then it had a big, man, what product was that? It wasn't Pacific Dynagon.
You just made up a word.
I think that's a fake product you just created.
Pacific Dynagon, man. Look that up. Well, I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah.
Invincible? Is there a Pacific Invincible set?
I like the Pacific Konglongadonk. That's my favorite set.
Pacific Dynagon.
William, my mother-in-law, is an artiste, and she's the one that made the pictures in the background.
Look, Pacific Dynagon, 2001 Pacific Dynagon, 1996 Pacific Dynagon. It's like I said, and it's gold. You're not going to be able to see it on my phone. Anyway, it's there.
I should have had my grandma pick me up some out in the UK.
But they came out with different foil colors, and some of them were more rare than others, kind of like Prism. But I think Invincible might be the one that I was talking about. Because Pacific used to also be the Crown Royale product, which is now carried over. It's still a product now by Panini. But Crown Royale was originally Pacific, I'm pretty sure. I bought so much of that stuff back in the day. I used to bust so many hobby boxes in the 90s, the mid to late 90s of football. I wish I still had some of those. I probably still have a lot of those cool inserts. I have all that stuff in the attic in like big row boxes. So all these like 90s inserts that are becoming popular again and stuff, I probably have loads of that stuff upstairs. Just haven't dug through it. I remember some of my favorite ones came out of Pacific product because they would be die cut like a do you remember the die cuts that were like palm trees for the Pro Bowl cards? And they had some that were cut out like surfboards because that's when it was played in Hawaii.
I don't remember those.
The Pro Bowl inserts were always awesome. They would be cut out like a palm tree one year, and then the other year it looked like a bunch of surfboards behind the player, and they were die cut like surfboards.
Badonkadonk.
Come on, man! I thought you knew about cards. You're the sports card dad.
I was born in 81. I don't remember those.
That means you were.
I'm kidding. I was around for Pacific. I just don't remember those specifically, or as my son would say, Pacific.
Pacific Invincible, I think, might be the set I was talking about that had the little picture in the corner.
Still can't believe Ziggy is sponsored by Ryan from Twitter's Repacks.
Oh, yeah,
I'm really happy that I tell you what, when I presented Ziggy with the upside down repack idea, I was really shocked to see that he endorsed the idea, just given his stance on repacks.
Look, that's a Pacific Invincible where it had the little clear cutout of the face at the bottom.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And then you could get different. See how this foil is red? There would be different color foils that were like serial numbered to lower amounts and stuff. That's kind of like the OG Prism, to be fair. Those cards bring back memories.
Got a merino like that for the PC. The Pro Bowl die cut. It's a palm tree die cut.
Yeah, those cards are cool.
Well, I think people have a point when they're talking about, all the nice designs from the 90s. I get it. I mean, there's a lot of innovation that goes in that went in during that time. Plus all the 90s colors and all the like those Proline portrait packs that we opened up where all the guys are in like the zebra pants and like all the 90s gear.
Oh, like the Pro Lines and the Zubaz.
Yeah, because it's like that's as 90s as it gets.
Mm-hmm. And there's awesome autographs in some of those sets that go for like 10% the value of the same player in a modern set. Like, and the signatures are better. They're like full signatures. The Jerry Rice I have is his full signature. It's not this J with a line and a Y that he does now.
Well, and here's the problem too, like because this kind of goes
And he
back
was still playing.
about what can Fanatics do to make better, make better cards besides this. I don't know if they came out with the 90s styles, if that would be cool today though. Like the stuff that you're talking about, like that came out in 95 or whatever. It's like, okay, if Fanatics like redoes that, and brings it out, are people going to buy it or are they going to be like, this is trash? But it's different than, the usual designs.
Well, like you said earlier, specify the game that some of the stuff comes from, things like that.
All right, boys, we've been on for an hour 36. I have to get up in 4.5 hours for my flight.
That's rough.
And I still have a video to make.
Just clip a 10-minute segment from this and there's your video.
I might have to do that. No, I'm not.
Quick question, since we were talking about the manufacturers, though.
Oh,
because there's a comment down here. Panini product. Do you think it remains in demand? I know that because they had the licensing for so many years, there is going to be only certain players and stuff that you can get in Panini product. But remember, Topps lost licenses and Upper Deck lost things, and their stuff stayed in demand. So where do you see Panini once they lose their rights to the Players Association and not the company? Where do you see stuff that's already out?
Like a Tatum Prism, you mean? Like stuff that already
exists? Yeah, stuff that already
I think it's just going to be player dependent because that's your only option. So it's like, it's not like you can go chase the Topps Jason Tatum rookie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or the Upper Deck.
Right.
Like that's all you got. So
I just hope there's no downtime in between the license exchange when cards start getting printed like there was in 2011, 2012.
No, Fanatics will have those things ready to rock and roll. I can guarantee that.
all right, fellas.
That'll be a fun question for next week.
I'm hitting a wall, and we are at the end of chat, and I think that means it's time. It's time. If I'm at the end of chat, then it's time to call it. All right, friends. Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Off Centered. We'll be back on the 27th, post-Christmas, pre-New Year's, to talk about New Year's resolutions and how to make the perfect repack. And it's coming, friends. It is coming in 2020. And it's all Flippin' Steve's idea. He's really got it mapped out. I'm excited for him to really kind of talk more about that.
They're going to believe you.
I'm happy that Ziggy's on board too. So
That's
we're in a good place. We're in a really
repack is actually real. This is his way of pretending that it's not.
I'm just numbing everybody to the idea so that it's not some sort of a shock when the upside down repacks start to come out.
The only topic more beat to death than repacks is Tom Brady Bowman cards.
We can just start trading repacks. Hey, I give you my repack for one of your repack and repack for repacks. We don't even care what's inside anymore. We just trade the repack based on what you might be able to get inside of it.
I'm going to buy and hold repack strategy.
Yeah, like sealed wax, like how I stash Pokemon wax. I'm going to stash.
Why are you guys bothering with sealed product? You should be just buying repacks and just holding. Diamond Hands repacks. All right, guys. That's it. We will see you again in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Later.
We'll see you guys after Christmas.
Oh yeah, Merry Christmas.
We'll see you
Happy holidays. Whatever
it is that you do.
Yeah, happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. All right.